This is the very first interview of this 46th Annecy's International Animation Film Festival, our very first steps into the endless animated dimensions of the amazing Annecyverse. And we are lucky to catch in our web the three directors of Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, Justin Thompson, Kemp and Joaquim Dos Santos. Welcome to Annecy.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This is going to be a pretty quick interview because you were screening the very first images of this very expected creation, and you are awaited again in the Hall of Bonlieu for a signing moment.
So and we have to actually get back to America and finish the movie, which is like a big challenge.
So let's go. Kemp, this is your very first time in Annecy?
Yes.
I think. How does it feel to be finally in the right dimension of the animation verse?
Well, it feels good that there's actually an Annecy festival this year. The last film I had out was during the pandemic, so it didn't happen. But it's great. I love being around hardcore animation fans who understand a lot of the little details. It was great just presenting this film and hearing oohs and ahs about little things that the general public often doesn't react to. So it's just a reminder that all the hard work that we're putting into this is paying off, and it's going to be noticed by the people who really count.
You would say that this is the best audience ever to try the first pictures?
Well, this is the first audience we've shown it to. This is my first Annecy, so this is my first time showing it to an audience. And you know, when we make these films, we're kind of in a vacuum. We have no one to bounce. We get sick of the work. We don't laugh at the jokes anymore. So it was really refreshing to hear people laugh at jokes and have an emotional reaction to these scenes that we've been tweaking for several years now. So I think the audience is great. It's the best.
Would you say quickly again that after such a screening, you have already some things turning on for the rest of the work? Do you have gathered some
It actually
interesting
reassured
inputs?
us about a bunch of things.
Right. I mean, today was the day we revealed that our main villain is the Spot, and we were really kind of curious how an audience would react to that. So it was nice to see that the overall emotion was excitement about that.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Joaquim,
yes.
You're the most experienced between you three guys because you were here since 2008.
I see.
You've been experiencing a lot of audiences in Annecy. How was today's audience?
I will say this was, this is the top room for Annecy, so it's like a bucket list, for us. We were joking that, and we've heard it sort of said, amongst our peers, it's like screening your project for friends, because like Kemp was saying, they sort of get excited about every little piece of artistry. So it's the little things that a general audience would take for granted, that you could hear everybody, and then the big loud noises they make are very, very loud.
Okay. Justin, last time you were in Annecy, it was to present the first chapter of Spider-Man New Generation. It's been some pretty productive 4 years, right?
Very productive, yes. Still a lot to do, like he said.
Yeah.
We haven't been productive enough, I think. But yeah.
How do you feel coming back with the second chapter of the same story, although the story is quite complex?
It's amazing to come back to Annecy a second time. The first time I was here, I didn't know what to expect, and I fell in love with the animation community, the fans here at Annecy. It is unlike any other place I've presented. And they are so invested in the medium and so invested in animation as a storytelling device and as an art form, that you just feel a sense of love and pride towards your own work because of the pride that you feel and the joy that you see coming through this audience. And I was so intimidated the first time. And I came back, it was like going back to visit a best friend. And then being with them, and I kind of I hope they still like me, So, but to hear that, it was almost overwhelming.
We were emotional.
I got emotional, like feeling that joy come from them because this is a bigger stage than we were on last time. Last time, Into the Spider-Verse was kind of, you know, new generation, as it's known here, was an unknown. And so we kind of came in and like, now we get to come onto the big stage, but knowing we were coming onto this big stage.
Yeah, it's a burden of expectation.
We had a bigger expectation because the first movie was, you know, so unexpected and did so much more than people expected. And to come back and to feel that love, man, that's the best.
Actually, it was already written in your plans, guys, because it was Into the Discovery, then Across, and then Beyond. So what to expect for next year, right?
Next year is Across 2023. Beyond is
Part
2024.
two.
Yes.
And so, well, a lot to expect for the next years.
Yeah.
It's quite a story.
And speaking of this story, we can see that Spider-Man is one of the very, very few heroes to be reborn, to become the youngest and the freshest of the superheroes. He actually has a brand new style, a brand new name also, because we're not Peter Parker anymore, we are Miles Morales. All the music, the sound design, the graphics, also the narration, it's all about intensity and density. Is it the motto of a new generation, also the real one, this intense and dense creation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's density necessarily. I mean, he definitely, I think, he has to traverse a very sort of dense landscape and you know, all the new worlds it will go to. But I do think what's interesting about Miles Morales is, you know, it's the thing we've always said, is that he comes from a very together family where every other iteration of Spider people have sort of come from, you know, families that were either torn apart through tragedy and so Miles has to sort of approach being a Spider person from his own perspective. You know, that's the big difference. He doesn't necessarily have to follow that same path.
Right. And I think with these films, the fact that we are tied so closely to the comics is part of the reason why it's able to be so fresh. Because the comic book medium is a medium that's so rapidly evolving and always stays so fresh. As you can see, we're getting old. So it's actually that connection to the medium itself and the artists from that medium and the writers of that medium, who are all really part of the family and a big part of the making this film. They're people we speak to regularly, you know, musically. All those connections really help keep, I think, this film feeling fresh.
Actually, guys, you're not that old. If we think about it.
Tell that to my kids.
And this is this is my last question for you. This year is the 60th birthday of Spider-Man, because it appeared in the first comics in Amazing Fantasy. It was in '62, so we are in the birthday year. So we are going to ask you guys to send a birthday postcard to Peter or Miles.
Oh, wow.
Miles is 11 this year, so you can choose whose character you are sending this to.
Okay.
And the festival will keep all the postcards made in this very room, and we'll send it in the animation verse somehow.
Okay, that sounds great.
That's awesome.
This is your time now to
write the card?
Write it down.
Okay, great. One card for all three of us?
Yes. This
Okay.
is
You want to go first?
He's the writer. I'm saying the writer has to do this.
Yeah,
All three of us have to do it.
I'll do a little doodle on the side as like
and please respect the anonymous of the character with the address. We won't.
Oh, sure.
Very good, very good.
We wouldn't want Miles to have problem.
Very good, of course. Make sure that the postage is correctly going. There you go.
You want to do something? Yep.
What is
I don't know. I just this guy's instructions were vague. That's exactly what a vague person would say. No, I'm kidding.
So the last words of this interview with Justin Thompson, Kemp and Joaquim Dos Santos for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. If anyone, including you, you can wear the mask. So remember this. and have an amazing stay in Annecy. And I think you are expected in the hall for a signing moment. So thank you a lot, guys, and see you next year in Annecy.
That's the hope. Yes. Let's let the movie come out first before we decide.
Thank you very much.